Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story is one that you may have seen in other places but now has a final update. Well, it says it has a final update on it. It's from misrocto from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, and it says, am I the arsehole here for not siding with my wife over our son's ex-girlfriend's pregnancy? And as I said, I'm going to cover the previous parts, but if you want to skip it, timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Our son just turned 16, had a girlfriend, she's 16, almost 17, but they broke up about a month ago. About 3 weeks ago, we were informed by her parents that she is pregnant. She is slightly showing. The dates line up with my son's relationship. My wife and I went into full panic mode. We waited a couple of days before telling our son, who didn't know. He immediately said, "It's not mine. I never fucked her." I didn't believe him, as I know he is active. He did the sensible thing and asked me for protection. However, he kept on saying they never did it. He said he cheated on her. I had a heart-to-heart with him and he's an absolute shithead, but I began to believe him. He said he always raps and he has asked for restocks. My wife, on the other hand, still didn't believe him. Both families met. My wife started the conversation just accepting that our son is the father and was trying to figure out a solution, funding, etc. My son spoke up saying it's not his baby, as they never had sex. He was genuinely angry. Then he made a comment that I'm going to rephrase. Apparently, they only ever did a certain act which can't result in a baby, and it was unsatisfactory, so he never went any further with her. An absolute shithead, and we raged at him over it. His ex-girlfriend admits they rarely did it, but explained the event, the when and where, and I will say it was believable too. I know he's a complete liar. I know he's an absolute dog, but I believe him still. My wife, however, is angry with me for playing into his nonsense. She said I'm part of the boy culture. She said children born to teen parents are more likely to be teen parents, and we were both 17 when my wife got pregnant. She said I'm worsening the situation by not living in reality, and she is left to figure out what to do on her own. To her point, I am hands off on further meetings with the other family. I don't believe we should have those discussions until it's proven he's the dad. Am I the arsehole here? Also, this is really ranty. I'm sorry, I needed to let off some steam. Just to add, her parents don't want to do a paternity test until after the child is born. They said it could harm the baby, but apparently it's harmless, so I don't know. So can we get a test done before then? Courts can't order one till birth. Another addition, I'm in the UK. So on the back about getting a paternity test, OP says, when I brought up a paternity test, the other family got offended. They thought I was implying something. The family said they'll do a paternity test when the child is born. They don't trust doing a paternity test prior to birth for safety reasons. I'm no medical professional, but apparently it's safe. About getting a non-invasive prenatal paternity test, OP says, you cannot get a court order a paternity test for an unborn child here anyway. A solicitor won't be able to do anything until the baby is born. I have a great relationship with my boy. Love him to bits. About his son's ex's parents, OP says no idea about their vax stance, but they are uber religious, pro-life, etc. They look down on us constantly. I'd say they hated their daughter was with such a boy. About his son's history of lying, OP says, oh, I've had many cross words. But from what he describes, he's saying he's playing safe. Her parents don't want to do a paternity test until the baby is born for safety concerns. My wife is fine with that. Apparently it's not unsafe though. I feel I know when he lies, he does it so often. I often see him lying to his mother. I can tell it's a lie and he'll admit that it's a lie. If he isn't lying, he deserves someone in his corner. About what sexual acts the son did with his ex-girlfriend according to him. Obi says from what he describes, his lower member was nowhere near her area. It feels really strange talking about their stuff. I've asked, they said they will not allow any risk. I said it wasn't a risk, but they said no. It wasn't anal, it was oral only apparently. It happened twice, but he said she wasn't good so he didn't finish, and I'm going to bang my head against a wall after typing that. and me reading it, about what advice OP gives to his son and what he thinks of his actions. OP says thanks. He's been warned by me not to even talk to her in school. Avoid her completely. He said gladly. My worry is more what my wife will pay for or whatever. He's an absolute arsehole to her. I've even stated how much of a shithead he is on this post. About his wife possibly sending money to her son's ex-girlfriend, and what she would do in case his son not being the father. Opie says we both have a separate account and then a joint one. I asked her those questions. She said he's lying. I said if he isn't, and she said but he is. I said let's say there's a 99% chance he's lying. If that 1% happens, how will she mend it with him? She said I'm being naive. And it's that absolute belief that he is lying that is really irritating. Like, I believe him, but I'm not certain. He could be lying, but I don't think he is. She can't sign his name to a birth certificate, thankfully, but I did say if it turns out he isn't the father and she does anything that will impact him, she will be left all alone. We've dated since we were 15. That's the first time I've lost a lot of respect for her. I do still love her though. If he's not the dad, they're done. There is no way back. The relationship is already so fucked. It's very sad. She's so sure because she knows our son. A betting man would bet on him lying. She thinks I'm being totally naive. Information about his son getting married with the ex-girlfriend in case of him being the father, and the fact that OP got his wife pregnant when they were teens. OP says they won't be getting married, rest assured. Well, we got married because we were kind of forced. Luckily for me, I love my wife. She's my best friend despite current events. Normally with issues, we've always been on the same page, but this has been different. Saying that, I also know we were lucky in that we actually liked each other. Many of those types of marriages aren't good, so I wouldn't want my son pushed into anything like that. But I would expect him to be there for his child as I was for him. I'd expect him to wisen up sharply, like the amount of growing I had to do quickly was insane, etc. About his and his wife's treatment of their son. Opie says I could understand if she said, look, he's a shithead, I think he's lying and the baby is his. What I cannot understand is that she can't even consider the possibility that he's telling the truth or a grey area between, as you mentioned. Like, I believe he's telling the truth, but I'll freely admit, if I was a betting man, I'm probably safer to bet that he's lying. Believe it, by all means, but let's not rush into anything without proof. I only started calling him a shithead about a year ago, when he was being a shithead. But in my defense, that's just the way we talk. Usually when I call him, he'll start laughing or whatever. And to be fair, fuck is pretty common here. If the son knows that OP cares about him, OP says, he knows. We do actually have a good relationship. He probably overshares a bit too much, if anything. I think it's the way you say it, shithead too. And it's just our way of talking. I'm sure the experts would disagree with it, but yeah. Someone said, did the son do drugs? OP says 6 months ago, he was hanging out with friends of friends, and he said they were passing around something. Drugs. He swore down he didn't smoke it. I didn't believe him because why would he say it otherwise? His mother did not. She drug tested him. Apparently he was drug free. One thing that we were lucky about is that he's so competitive at football that he doesn't involve himself in underage drinking, smoking, etc. So it was a week after that OP came in again and said, I didn't think I'd be coming back so soon, and this probably more suited to an advice sub rather than an arsehole sub. Cursing, sexual references, etc. Short story, text message that backs up her story. Another meeting went worse than the first. He's not coming home. Mother-son relationship fucked, and husband-wife relationship fucked. His ex has text messages to a friend around the time in which she discussed my son's large, with a mark, organ, and the type of sex they had. The messages align with what she says and go beyond the oral that he had said. My wife gloated, but anyway. My wife invited them over without my knowledge. It was carnage. She, our son, and I were sitting on one side of the table. He told his mum that she should sit on the other side, and he wouldn't start a conversation until she moved over. She eventually did. Our son was very quiet at the beginning. He admitted he has the mark and is large. Something I never needed to know, but he maintained it was just oral. He started winking at his ex's mother. When she asked why he was winking at her, he said your husband is gayer than Philip Schofield, so I'm sure you'd like a go on my large. He turns to his ex-dad and says, Philip, his name is not Philip, is not for you, followed by a gay slur. I was speechless at it all. What the fuck? My wife said to my son to stop denying it. My wife started planning again. I said I'd still want DNA, preferably now, but immediately at birth. They stuck to birth. My son spoke up. He said this is not how this is going to work. He told them that they get the test done now or he will refuse to get tested until he's finished college. So 6 years time approximately. He said courts won't expect maintenance from a kid. And in that time, the slur who gave birth to him, my wife, will have spent so much money and will love a kid that is unrelated to her. He said hopefully that spirals the slur into a very dark place. They said they'd just court order it. He said a court cannot force him. Some autonomy thing. He seemed confident and turns out he's right. He was walking out and his mother grabbed his arm to come back in. He said, "Get your dirty hand off me, you slur." He said he'd fight back if she didn't let go. I told her to let him go. He said he was staying at a friend's. He's been staying there a bit. I went out and said I'd drive him. He agreed. In the car journey, he said he knows I don't believe him anymore, but he didn't fuck her. He said school is horrible, social media is horrible, and your wife, he didn't call her mum, is a bitch. I said you can't speak about your mum like that. He said she's a woman that gave birth to him and minded him. That's all. He said she doesn't care how he is coping. She never even asked. When we got to his friends, he cried a bit. He said it's nothing to do with me, but he won't be home much anymore. He said hopefully I'd still hang out with him. I know his friend's father from the pub. He started talking to me. I was going to give him money because my son is over there a lot, but he refused. He said my son told him everything. He's a counselor. He said girls can exaggerate to friends, boys can lie. He said he knows my son since he was tiny and he believes him. He also said he might have more information than I do. No idea. He warned that we're going to lose him if we are not careful. I went home. I told my wife if she so much says one word to me or our son about the baby without a test being done, we are over. If she doesn't apologize to our son in the next few days and beg him for forgiveness, we are done. I sadly do mean it. It wasn't heat of the moment. By her reaction, I think we will separate for now. I do love her, childhood sweethearts, but my son is my son. It's not a matter of believing him. I probably don't. It's a matter of being there for him. He was always a shithead, but his behavior is erratic and almost asking for help. It's worrying how quickly he has changed. He is the priority for me right now. Counseling, and plenty of it. So in the comments, someone says about his son's words, what happened at the table, because I was like, what the fuck's happening there? And the need of being coddled. OP says, how he is speaking to everyone is wild and unacceptable. Philip Schofield and the slur was an awful thing to say. But as much of a shithead as he was, this is very out of character for him. Maybe it's coddling him, but I think he's at wit's end. A cry for help. It was shocking to see. Counseling and plenty of it. His friend's father is a counselor/therapist. He said he needs a safe home and basically to be coddled. He needs to be told it's not right, but not in an angry way. I did tell him it's not right. He said to be strict on him and it'd be a dark watch or something to that effect. About his son's behavior towards women and potential red flag for future relationships, Opie says, because for one, I don't think he acts that way to his friends or family. When we were alone in the car, he was normal to me. He was crying and upset, but he didn't have the cockiness he had in the meeting. His wife died, but he has 2 daughters. I asked him what he's like, and he said he's mostly in his room upset. He said when he comes out of his room, he'll ask what chores he'll do. I asked about his daughters. He said they get along fine. He and his friend walked his youngest daughter to school a couple of times, and he asked her spellings along the way apparently. Some people were giving Opie a hard time, and one of the reasons is because that he thinks his wife should apologize to their son, and he explained why. Opie says I don't trust him, and he's still fine to me. I do think it's bad of her to full on say you're a liar. It's your kid. Take responsibility. To be so sure she's not even talking about DNA. I also think some of her words were cutting disgrace, disappointment, etc. I think the biggest one, and he said it himself, is at no point did she ask how he was. How's the bullying at school, etc. I think she should appreciate that he's already getting so much shit, he doesn't need to be called a disappointment, etc. And the coldness at home. I think an apology is needed from her. I think he, at some point, will do a lot more than just apologize to her. But at the end of the day, He's broken and fragile. It was scary watching his behavior. A totally different boy from a month ago. I think he needs to know people are in his corner. He is a real therapist, but I agree there's a conflict of interest. I said we all need therapy. He said he'd do it with me, but not with my wife. About why he's taken easy on his son comparing to his wife. Opie says I would imagine he's gone so far that what he will need to do will be discussed between him and a counselor that he will get. I don't think I'm capable of suggesting what that may be. I really don't. This isn't bunking off school, etc. I actually think her behavior is disgusting. Not as disgusting, but disgusting nonetheless. Let's take it to the extreme. Let's say he had suicidal thoughts, and I don't think it's a total stretch given how he seems and his counselor's comments. He's having a rough time in school. He's not the dad. I think he is. His mother calls him a disgrace, disgusting, etc. before he ever called her a slur. He believes DNA now would sort it all out, but his mother won't even push for it because he's guilty. He then sits down and watches a group of people discuss his manhood. And despite all this, she hasn't asked him once if he's okay. Not even out of courtesy. And that's worst case scenario, I get that. I can't get on board at all with her behavior, or his. But there is one who needs me more right now. My wife has friends at work, friends outside work. She has this new family, who she's going to be a grandmother for. He has 2 friends. That's it, in his head. That's all. So a month later, another update came in. It said my wife and I separated, but we're on good terms. I think she understands why I moved out, but we still want to deal with the situation differently. I'm living in a flat with my son. He seems happier. The good news. His ex's parents last Thursday agreed to a paternity test. That is booked for this Wednesday. I don't know what brought on this sudden change. I told my son they had agreed. He asked to meet his ex and her parents to apologize. He thanked and apologized to his ex's parents for what he said. They were very good to accept the apology, although I do think he deserved an apology too. He said to his ex that he's not starting anything, but they both know it's not his. She still insisted it is his. I asked if maybe he wanted to apologize to his mother, or at least have a discussion with her. He said he won't apologize to her, and he won't forgive her, even if she apologizes to him. He said he hates her and always will. That's still an utter mess. He won't speak to her. If she visits our flat, he leaves. Saturday night I told him I won't be angry if he's been lying, but if he is, I prefer him to be honest rather than find out by the test. He said again it's not his. Quickly after that, he asked me to promise, and I wouldn't get mad if he told the truth. He said he doesn't want labels, but the reason it went no further with his ex is because he can't stay up with girls, and he uses the condoms but not with girls. I couldn't respond as he went to bed. I told him Sunday morning I'm fine with him whatever he is. Admittedly, it was a surprise. I did ask about the Philip Schofield comment he made against his ex's dad, and he said nothing like that ever happened. He said it's a guy his own age. I didn't push it any more than that. He wants it kept quiet, so here I am, as I can't tell others, but it'd be a shock at this point if it is his. So people were saying about the surprise of this new update. Opie said it's a shock to be honest, but the way the last 2 months or so have gone, it's not much of a bigger deal right now. I don't care if he's gay. I'm gonna need a holiday after all this though. About getting the son and his wife into therapy. Opie says counseling has a long wait list. He's on the list. In the meantime, I've made him speak to this organization I was told about. It's like a helpline, but it's manned by student psychologists and similar. It's not therapy, it's just someone to speak to. He'll still need counseling, and I think he'd probably welcome it. About how his wife lost him and his son in this situation. Opie says I very much disagree and hate how my wife has dealt with this, but to me separation is temporary. Even if it's not, she'll never lose me. I love her, and she's always been my best friend. If the counselor knew his son was gay, Opie says that's good thinking, but that comment was about how badly my son was coping with the situation. He told that man he wanted others to suffer in the way he was and stuff. As for our son, hopefully that can be mended, but I'm not so confident. About sex education and the need to reinforce that, Opie says that's true. He's always asked for condoms. He did say he uses them always with the guy, and neither of them go with others. At some stage I have to talk with him again, but the rest comes first. about the possibility of the ex-girlfriend's father flirted or hit his son. Opie says the Philip Schofield comment worried me a little, but I doubt it. My son said no, he was never like that. He just said it to hurt and embarrass him like they and his mum did during the meeting. If the son's relationship with his mother was always rocky, Opie said they had a good relationship. A bit of a mama's boy, but he was always wild. She still does believe he's lying. She is still, from what I know, planning for her grandchild. She's unaware of the gay part. Not my thing to tell. If his wife knows their son is gay, and if she would be homophobic, Opie says she wouldn't be homophobic. He said I'm the only one who he's told. I think she just broke his entire image of her. About being gay and not being an excuse for his behavior. Opie says being gay doesn't absolve his comments. Regardless of the result, he will still be getting counseling. Apologizing was a good step. I don't think he's a misogynist, in the same way I don't think he's a homophobe. I think he said misogynistic and homophobic things to lash out. Absolutely wrong. If the DNA test shows that his son is the father, if it turns out to be his, he will have to step up and take responsibility. He'll have to do a lot of bridge building. I'd be very annoyed that he lied, but I don't think I'd regret how I dealt with it. So it was 5 days after this that Opie updated. It looks like one more time, but who knows. It says he lied. Am I the arsehole for not siding with my wife over my son's girlfriend's pregnancy? Am I the arsehole? And I said I broke their rules, too many updates, so I'll post it here. The person I messaged to apologize to at Am I the Arsehole was very nice and kind. Spent the 800 quid on the test last Wednesday. He didn't seem nervous. He seemed happy. All went well. Thursday morning I woke up and he wasn't there. Had texted me he needed a break for a few days. Wife rang that his ex was gone. Same message. I texted and rang him over and over. Eventually he video called me. His ex was there too. He said he lied about it all and that the test will probably show it's his. He told me where they are staying and they apparently want to talk about it without adults getting involved. I was wrong. He lied. My wife was humble given everything. Her parents and my wife think it might be a good thing to let them talk. They are staying in touch. I don't see the benefit in them on their own, nuts in my opinion, but I'm so mad, maybe it's for the best. I'm done. Also, I don't think I can respond here. And there was like an edit on this post that had no idea who Philip Schofield is because, he's a British TV presenter. Why would you? I imagine, and I know there's a large US audience on this channel in particular. So I read this out. It says, I had no idea who Philip Schofield was, so I Googled it. He was a British TV presenter for many years. In 2020, he came out as gay and separated from his wife after 27 years of marriage. He later revealed he cheated on his ex-wife with a man while they were married. He also had some other scandals. Yes, other scandals is absolutely correct. And, if you want to know more on that, and it would explain what the son is actually calling him when he called him Philip Schofield. But gee, bloody whiz, what an absolute mess. It's one of those situations I would love to see, sometimes it happens in these stories, the wife's side of things in this. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from the Am I Overreacting subreddit from Imaginary Air 24. And it says, am I overreacting? I think my friend is overstepping boundaries and is into me. And it comes with text and some text message screenshots at the same time. So we're going to go for the text bit first, and then we'll cover those. It says, I've been friends with this guy for over a year, but recently have been talking more. I've never once led him on and didn't think much of our friendship. And honestly, I don't even view him as a best friend. I just got really confused and offended at how he was not okay with me hanging out with a guy he doesn't know whatsoever. I feel like he's getting way too worked up over a hangout that isn't even that big of a deal. The guy in my society is actually really sweet, which is referenced in the screenshots at the moment, and friendly, and has hinted that he's into me. I think he's amazing and wants to see how things will pan out since I'm also interested. But it's only mild attraction and not a full blown out crush from both sides. The reason I said it wasn't a date is because 1, I am actually going out to help him get a present. Life has been really shitty lately, and I've been dealing with mental health issues and relationship problems. I'm in the process of getting a therapist before I do something drastic to myself. This guy knows that I've been struggling and wanted to help cheer me up. 2. I don't think it's any of my friends' business whether or not I like this guy or how much I like him. Like I mentioned before, I don't see him as a best friend, and I don't think that we're close for me to share every detail of my personal life with him. I'll repeat that my friend doesn't know anything about the guy I'm hanging out with. What I'm getting from his explanation is that he's worried for me and is trying to look out for me, and I guess someone could see it that way. But for some reason, his words just don't sit right. It feels like he's acting like my boyfriend and may even like me, and now I'm rethinking our past interactions and whether or not he showed any interest and if I mistakenly led him on. I literally don't remember a single instance like that, and now I think him asking me out in the beginning was supposed to be like a date. I feel like I'm posting a little too much on Reddit lately. Honestly, been dealing with so much more serious stuff and this shit seems tame in comparison. Maybe because I'm already so stressed and burnt out that I'm seeing his words for more than what it is. I don't know. I'm really unsure of myself right now. Please let me know if I'm reading too much into it. So then the text messages come in and it says, starting from his side, by the way, there's this new cafe opened up in the mall. It's near X place. You go there, right? Opie quotes it and says, oh, nice. It's actually on my to-do list, but haven't gone yet. He replies saying, do you want to go today? Exams are over and it could be fun. Opie replied saying, sorry, I've made plans. He replies, with who? Opie says, I don't know if you remember him. He's in my society. He said, I don't remember him. Who else is coming along? Opie said, it's just us going out. Nothing major. He replied, why? That's kind of weird. Opie laughed and said, how? He said, is it a date? Opie said, no, it's not a date. I'm just helping him out buy some things. He said, buy what? He could have asked other people, I'm sure. Opie said, birthday gifts for his sister. Are you okay? He replied, he doesn't even know what his own sister would want. Opie says, I'm close with her and he wanted my opinion. Plus, it'd be a fun hangout. I don't see the problem. He replied, if you're so close with a sister, go out with her, not him. He sounds like he likes you. Opie says, sounds like you're making assumptions about a guy you've never met. How is this any of your business? Are you mad I'm not going out with you this evening? He says, why would it not be my business? I'm just trying to look out for you and you're being really dismissive. Opie says, I'm sorry if I came off that way. I appreciate you looking out for me. But with all due respect, you don't know him well enough to be this on edge. He says her name and says, I'm not kidding. Guys never want to just be friends with a girl and he seems sus. Bit ironic, isn't it? Stop ignoring my words. Opie says, you're a friend too, so does this mean you became my friend with the goal of dating me? What the fuck? Thanks for the concern, but I think I'll manage. He replies, now you're twisting my words. Can you stop arguing with me? Opie says, I didn't start it, you did. Doesn't make sense for you to be this overprotective, especially when you're just a friend and you honestly have no reason to be this suspicious. Thank you for worrying about my safety, but this is over the top and I feel like you're crossing some boundaries. He said, okay, so first I tried to be a nice guy and tried to look out for you like a good friend. You dismiss me and you ignore my warning even though I know guys better than you do. It's like you're begging to go out and be taken advantage of. Opie replies saying, okay, so by your logic, since I'm not interested in you and you're a guy, I should assume you have bad intentions too. He said, I never said that. I don't want us to stop hanging out. Then it looks like he switches to another language briefly but then says, why are you being so difficult? Opie says, I don't think it's any of your business even if this person is into me and this was a date. So he said, oh, so it is a date. I'm not sure if that's okay. Opie replies saying, good thing it's none of your business. It's really weird for a guy not even dating to be acting like this. Guy is calling himself out in so many different ways. What an absolute melon. And that's an insult to melons. When he turned around and says, guys never want to just be friends with a girl. It's like, come on, dude. Do you even realize what you're saying right now? And as soon as you call him out on it, you're twisting my words. Then he turns around and says, okay, I tried to be a nice guy, which is absolutely right. Bloody nice guy indeed. And then in the end turns around and says, oh, so it's a date. And not sure if that's okay. It doesn't fucking matter whether you think it's okay, pal. Just be done with this guy. I wouldn't consider him a friend. He's getting really possessive, asking way too many questions. And like you said at the very end there, it's none of his bloody business. The commenter says, also stop arguing with me is crazy. I would be like, bet, and block him. The Red Queen says, 1. He's asking way too many questions for a friend. 2. The questions he's asking are none of his business. 3. Starting an argument with you over who you hang out with is wild. 4. It might be best to start limiting contact with him, since he cannot manage his own behavior. 5. Pay this friend no mind. Go and enjoy your shopping outing and have some well-deserved fun. I think that comment pretty much just sums it up, right? So as I said, OP does have an update, and this time we're going to cover the screenshots first from the text messages, and it starts off with him just adding some question marks saying, "You're dismissing my feelings. If you replied and you're overstepping my boundaries." He said, "You're being really rude right now. You could be nicer and more acknowledging about how I had your best interests in mind." OP says, "I think as a society we need to stop normalizing girls being rude to guys that make them uncomfortable. No offense, but we're literally not that close. I hang out with you because you're friends with Himanshi and we're in the same circle. Also, I'm not required to defend or explain my actions to someone like you." He replied, "Someone like me?" OP says, "Also, I'm sorry if I led you on any time and made you think I was interested, because I'm not. You sound really insecure right now, and you're acting like we're dating or at least in a situationship. I've never flirted or reciprocated anything, and to be honest, I don't even remember if you ever came on to me or not." OP says, "First of all, you're being really fucking annoying and assuming any guy that cares about you is someone who likes you. That's so self-centered, and you've been constantly dropping hints at me everywhere. Plus, you told me you were going out with Arathaya, apologies about pronunciation of names, and basically shoved it in my face when I tried asking you on a date. You're acting so crazy right now." OP replied saying, "You were the one that told me any guy that wants to be friends with a girl actually wants to fuck her. Plus, you were asking me to hang out with you, not a date. And I just said I can't because I already have plans. You were the one that pried further, and I think it's best you scroll up and read the bullshit you've texted. As for me dropping hints, give me literally one example." OP says, "You always smile and act fakingly sweet. You stay in contact with me online and you pick up my calls. And even the way you look at me is all hints begging me to just take things a step further. And honestly, I don't know why you're angry at the fact that I like you. I'm genuinely a great guy, and I have a lot of other girls that want me too. So you're basically playing hard to get." OP says, "Great, so go date one of them then. Sounds like you don't need me." He said, "That's not what I meant." OP says, "I can't go on with this. I think it's best we stop talking at school, and I won't be contacting you online either unless the teacher pairs us up for something, since me replying to your text is clearly something you think is flirty." He replied, "Wait, stop. Okay, I take it back. You can go hang out with this person all you want, okay? I want us to stay friends." OP replied saying, "Thanks for giving me permission that I never needed. And no, I can't hang out with you anymore." He said, "What the fuck? I'm literally begging." Oh, dearie me. OP replied saying, "You clearly have a thing for me and I don't feel the same way. If I keep talking to you, your delusions might act up and think that I'm leading you on or flirting, and I don't want that. We can go our separate ways and you can find another girl you like." OP then replied, "Okay, you're being such a bitch right now." He then says, "Main sorry bolana." I don't know if that's right, the right pronunciation. Google saying it says it can be translated as, "I said sorry, didn't I?" or "I did say sorry, you know." And then says, "Even though you're the bitchy one, I'm over here on my knees begging you to forgive me for something that's not my fault. It's not like I need you. You were a choice I made, and for some reason you're not even appreciating it. I'll probably start dating as soon as you do what you say you're gonna do, so good luck dealing with that." OP says, "Sounds like we have a deal. Have a great life then." And then says, "You're not going to ask me to change my mind." And then he says, "Benchod ho kaya," again, pronunciation, which I believe is something like, I've heard that word before, like sister fucker or something like that. And that was the last text message, but OP added in text format below all that. I don't feel I need to add extra explanation because the text messages speak for themselves. I want to thank everyone for all the support and advice from the original post. I've given the link below just in case anybody wants context. I honestly feel very proud of myself for having the self-respect to tell him this, and I feel like I've made the right choice. Once again, thanks for all the love I got. Hopefully this is it. and I won't have to deal with his BS anymore. And absolutely good on OP for just blocking and being done with that bullshit. They did confirm in the comments below that the person is blocked now. I would even go as far to say, you know, because you said that you might get partnered up at school, just mentioning to your teacher to make sure that never happens for obvious reasons, because you just clearly need distance from that person completely. What a fucking idiot. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.